so this is the section 9.3 lesson video. Okay, so we've already learned how to name compounds that start with a regular metal. That was where we name the metal, add I to the nonmetal unless it's a polyatomic ion. In section 9.2, we learned how to name compounds that start with a transition metal. So remember, that's where we would name the metal, put that Roman numeral for the charge, because remember, transition metals can have more than one charge, and then add I to the nonmetal unless, of course, it's a polyatomic ion. So in this section, we're going to learn how to name compounds that start with a nonmetal. Okay, so remember, nonmetals are on the right of the stair step on the periodic table. So let's look at this. All right, so well, as I just said, nonmetals are to the right of the stair step on the periodic table. So here's our stair step. These are our nonmetals. Now we know that hydrogen, which would be over here, is also a nonmetal, but we have separate rules for when we name compounds that start with hydrogen, because usually they're an acid. When you name compounds that start with nonmetals, you name the first element, and then you add I to the second element. So notice that's what we've already been doing. Name the first element, I to the second element. But in nonmetals, because there are no charges to balance, you have to somehow in the name tell what the subscripts are, because they could be more than one thing. Like I could have N2O5 or I could have N2O4. Since there's no balancing of charges, we need something else to tell us what those subscripts are. And so that's where prefixes come in. So like carbon dioxide, that's where that di comes from. And the prefixes indicate the number of atoms of each element. The only time you do not use a prefix is if the first element has one atom. The second element always has a prefix. The first element only has a prefix if it actually has a subscript. Okay, so you should never start a name with mono. Okay, now you can have mono on the second element, but not the first. All right, so let's look at what the prefixes are. So our prefixes are, one is mono. Think about a monocle, one eyeglass. Monocle, mono means one. Two is di. We've already learned the 7 diatomics. That means there are 2 atoms. So di means 2. 3 is tri, triangle. 4 is tetra. If any of you are familiar with the game Tetris, I'm going to star number 4 just because it's commonly missed. If any of you are familiar with the game Tetris, it drops different sets of blocks. And of course you try to line them up and get them all to cancel out. But if you look, it always drops some arrangement of 4, because tetra means 4. So Tetris, as it drops all these different shaped blocks, notice they all are made of 4 individual blocks. Okay, so tetra means 4. 5 is penta. Think about a pentagon. It has 5 sides. 6 is hexa. Think about a hexagon. It has 6 sides. 7 is also commonly missed. It is hepta. Okay, I'll get septa a lot, but it's hepta. 8 is octa, like octopus has 8 legs. 9 is nana. I get nano a lot for this, but it's nana. And 10 is deca. Think about decade is 10 years. Deca means 10. Okay, and again, I starred 4 and 7 because those are the 2 most commonly missed ones. All right, so 4 is tetra, 7 is hepta. So make sure that you have those memorized, all right, and keep them memorized even next semester. So let's look at some together. All right, so obviously we all know H2O is water, but in this chapter we can't call it water. We need to call it by its official name, its IUPAC name. So it says write the names of the following molecules. Okay, well H is what? H is hydrogen. How many H's do I have? I have 2. So what's my prefix for 2? Di. So I'm going to put dihydrogen. All right, we change the ending of the second element to I. So oxygen becomes oxide. How many do I have? I only have 1. Obviously 1's understood, so if there's no subscript, it's a 1. So what's my prefix for 1? It's mono. All right, so I get dihydrogen monoxide. All right, dihydrogen monoxide. So let's look at our next one, CO2. Well, what's C? Carbon. How many do I have? I only have 1. You do not put a prefix when the first element has 1. So you don't want to start monocarbon, you just start carbon. Okay, but notice the second one can have a prefix of 1. All right, second one always has a prefix. So again, oxygen becomes oxide. There are 2 of them, so it would be dioxide. So carbon dioxide. All right, and then last one. Again, we have CO, so we're starting with carbon. Do I need a prefix? No, because the first one does not need a prefix when it only has 1. All right, I'm ending with oxygen, which is going to become oxide. In this case, how many do I have? I have 1, so it's carbon monoxide. All right, why I picked 3 that all end in oxygen, I don't know. Just know that the second element does not have to be oxygen. All right, so remember, "-ide" at the end of the second element only, prefix for the second element every time, prefix for the first element if it actually has a subscript. Okay, so let's look at a few more. All right, so I would recommend maybe pause the video, try these on your own, and then that way you can check your answer. Okay, so I'm going to assume you've already tried them and you're checking your answers now. All right, so what is P? P is phosphorus. All right, it doesn't have a subscript, so I don't need a prefix. Remember, no prefix if the first element only has 1. So phosphorus. All right, chlorine is going to be called chloride. Remember, don't forget to add that "-ide" ending. And then how many chlorines do I have? I have 3. My prefix for 3 is tri. Okay, so phosphorus trichloride. All right, next one, we have N2O5. So N is, of course, nitrogen. And in this case, I do have a subscript. I have a 2. So I do need a prefix on my first element. So what's my prefix for 2? It's di. So I'm going to start with di-nitrogen. And then, of course, oxygen becomes oxide. And then I have to tell how many. So in this case, I have a subscript of 5. So what's my prefix for 5? It is penta. All right, so we get di-nitrogen pentoxide. And you may notice I dropped the A. Actually, I think I did this on the previous slide too, and I forgot to mention it. You'll notice that I dropped the A because the prefix for 5 is penta, and you'll see I only have pentoxide. A lot of times if you follow a prefix with a vowel, then you'll drop the vowel on the prefix. Okay, not all the time, but a lot of time. I'm not going to be picky and mark things wrong over whether or not you dropped a vowel. Okay, so if you wrote pentaoxide, I would still mark that right. Okay, so let's look at our last one. So we have NH3. So N is, of course, nitrogen. Do I need a prefix for this one? No, because there's just 1. All right, hydrogen. What would that be with an "-ide" at the end? A lot of y'all have trouble with that. Okay, well, oxygen becomes oxide, so hydrogen becomes hydride. Hydride. And then how many do I have? I have 3. My prefix for 3 is tri. So it'd be nitrogen, trihydride. Okay, so hopefully you got those right. So now, of course, if I give you the formula, I expect you to be able to give the name, but also if I give you the name, I expect you to be able to give me the formula. So let's look at that type real quick. Alright, so when you write the formula for a compound that starts with a nonmetal, you do not need to balance charges. Okay, if it starts with a regular metal, you balance charges. If it starts with a transition metal, you balance charges. And you'll learn that when it starts with a hydrogen, you will balance charges. Nonmetals are the only ones where we don't balance charges because they don't have charges. They're not transferring electrons, they're just sharing. So there are no charges associated with it. Okay, so you don't need to balance charges, and the prefixes tell you the number of atoms. Okay, so nitrogen trichloride, that means 1 N and 3 Cl's, which, by the way, I got this picture online. This L should be lowercase, not capitalized. Obviously, hopefully you noticed that and it's bothering you as much as it's bothering me. All right, so let's look at some together. So we have carbon tetrachloride. Okay, well, carbon C, it didn't have a prefix, so I can assume it's just 1. And then chloride is Cl, and tetra, remember tetris, drops 4 blocks at a time, and tetra means 4. So it'd be CCl4. Hopefully you're finding these super easy. That's why I did this as a video lesson. Alright, next is sulfur hexafluoride. So sulfur is S. It has no prefix, so I can assume there's just one. Fluoride is F, and then my prefix hexa, how many sides does a hexagon have? 6. So SF6. And that's it. No charge is necessary because remember, they are sharing. They are not transferring. They don't have actual charges. Okay, yes, they can have a partial positive, partial negative here, as we talked about with polarity, but they don't have overall charges. All right, so let's look at a couple more. All right, so again, I would recommend pause the video, try these, because these are the ones I'd normally have you try in class. All right, I'll assume you did that already. So let's look at these. So we have diphosphorus. Phosphorus is P, and di means 2, like diatomic. And then trioxide. Well, oxygen is O. Tri, like a triangle, means 3. So P2O3. Hopefully you got that right. Should have been super easy. All right, next one is bromine monoiodide. So bromine is Br. Since there is no prefix, I can assume that there's only one. Monoiodide. Iodide comes from iodine, it's I. And mono means there's just one of them. So I don't need to write a 1, of course, because it's understood. So it would be Bri. So hopefully you got those right. All right, so let's move on to our section assessment. All right, so what information do prefixes tell you? Well, they tell us the number of atoms or the subscripts. The number of atoms or the subscripts. Okay, the number of atoms or the subscripts. So the next one says, write the name for the following molecules. Okay, so let's use our prefixes. Remember, if the first element only has 1, there is no prefix. And also, only add "ide" to the second element. Every now and then, like when you're used to changing chlorine to chloride, even though it's the first element, you would change it. Okay, so only add "ide" to the second one. All right, so let's look at the first one, Ni3. Well, N is nitrogen. I don't need a prefix because there's only one of them. I is iodine, which I'm going to change to iodide. And then because there's 3 of them, I need to add tri. Okay, so it'd be nitrogen, triiodide. Nitrogen, triiodide. All right, so let's look at B. BCl3. Well, B is boron. Since there's only one of them, I don't need a prefix. Chlorine becomes chloride. And since there are 3 of them, I'm going to call it trichloride. Boron trichloride. And I know these names kind of sound weird now, but you know, as we use them over and over and over again in class, they'll become a little bit more normal. All right, so let's look at C, Cl2O7. Okay, well, Cl is chlorine. Remember, we're not going to change it to chloride because it's the first element. And in this case, it does have a subscript, so I do need a prefix. So what's my prefix for 2? It's di. So I'm going to start with dichlorine, and then oxygen becomes oxide. And there are 7 of them. So what's my prefix for 7? Commonly missed one, hepta. Okay, so I would get dichlorine heptoxide. Dichlorine heptoxide. All right, let's look at our next one. So we have SO3. Well, there's only one S, so I'm going to put sulfur. No prefix needed if it only has a subscript of 1. All right, and then I have O3. Well, O again is oxide. And then 3 is tri. Okay, so sulfur trioxide. And notice here that I did not drop the second vowel. Again, the vowel on the prefix, even though it's followed by a vowel. Again, you'll kind of figure those times out when you do drop it and when you don't. And again, I'm not going to count off over the dropping of a vowel. Okay, so when in doubt, just write everything. Okay, so let's look at part E. So we have N2H4. Okay, well, N is nitrogen. Since there are 2 of them, what prefix do I need? I need a di. All right, Hydrogen, remember, we just did that one. Hydrogen, when it has IDE, oxygen becomes oxide, hydrogen becomes hydride. Okay, so I'm going to put hydride, and then there are 4 of them. So remember, when you drop blocks in tetras, you get 4. 4 is tetra. So I do tetrahydride. Okay, dinitrogen tetrahydride. All right, let's look at F. N2O3. Well, N again is nitrogen. We have a 2 here, so it's going to be dinitrogen. And then we have O, which is oxide. But there are 3 of them, so it's trioxide. Dinitrogen trioxide. All right, and then last one, CS2. So C is carbon. Since there's no subscript, I don't need a prefix. All right, S is sulfur, which we're going to call sulfide. Don't forget to change that ending to IDE. And since there are 2 of them, I'm going to put a di. So carbon disulfide. So remember, y'all, mono should only be used with the second element if it doesn't have it doesn't have a subscript. The first element should never start with mono. All right, so let's look at some of these going the opposite way. Because remember, you got to always be able to go both ways. So this one says, write the formula for the following compounds. Okay, so we have carbon tetrabromide. Okay, well, carbon is C. Since it doesn't have a prefix, I can assume there's just 1. Bromide is Br, and the prefix tetra, remember, tetras drops 4 blocks. Prefix tetra means 4, so it's CBr4. All right, let's look at the next one. Phosphorus pentachloride. Well, phosphorus is P. Since there's no prefix here, I can assume there's just 1. And then chloride is Cl. And penta, remember, how many sides does the pentagon have? 5. So PCl5. All right, next one, we have iodine. Again, no prefix, so I'm going to assume there's just 1. Fluoride is F. And hepta, remember, tetra and hepta are the commonly missed ones. Tetra is 4, hepta is 7. So IF7. All right, number D. Part D. Chlorine trifluoride. Well, chlorine is Cl, fluoride is F, and tri comes from triangle, is 3. So ClF3. All right, last one, part E. Iodine dioxide. Well, iodine is I. Again, there's no prefix, so I'm going to assume there are none. Now remember, y'all, the first one can have a prefix. I just happen to randomly all pick ones that didn't have prefixes. And so in that case, you would put a subscript with the first one. These just didn't happen to. Okay, and dioxide. Well, oxygen's O, and di, of course, means 2. So IO2. All right, so let's look at the last one. The name a student gives for the molecular compound SiCl4 is monosilicon tetrachloride. Is this correct? Okay, well, we have 1 Si and they wrote monosilicon, and we have 4 Cls and they wrote tetrachloride. Is that right? It's not right. What's wrong with it? If the first one only has 1, you do not use mono as a prefix. Okay, see up here, all these, the first one had 1, and I don't have mono on any of them. However, the rest of it's right, so it should have just been called silicon tetrachloride. Okay, so what was incorrect is incorrect, and what was incorrect about it? That mono at the beginning. All right, so hopefully you found section 9.3 easiest. Most people like the 9.3 naming better than all the rest, so hopefully you agree with that also, and hopefully you thought it's pretty easy.